Okay, today we're going to make a phone stand very quickly in SolidWorks. It's going to look like this, starting with an upside down 7. So we'll go over here and say new part, and then start drawing on the front plane. So right click here and say sketch. Then go to the line tool and just make a bottom part here. And now we have kind of the upside down 7. We can zoom in on that area and start dimensioning that area. So we can say 75 wide, 123.5 high. Make sure that we're in millimeters down here. 75. And then from top to bottom, right here down to there, it's going to be 123.5. We do want some curvature down here at this point. So let's go ahead and put a sketch fillet rather than a feature fillet, like so. Looks like it's 10 millimeters. You know what? I think that's pretty good. So let's hit OK to that. Now we need to make it give it some thickness. So we're going to use the offset tool for that. Click here, and maybe not on the outside. Let's do it the other direction, reverse. Let's make this 2 millimeters thick. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, now what we need to do is, once we agree to that, is close the surface so that we can extrude it. So we're going to use the line tool to go from here to close the surface. There's also an opening down here at the bottom. Let's see if that makes it gray when we do that. Not quite. Looks like it's not fully defined either. So one of the things we could do is define what this angle is here. Let's see if it'll let us do this after the fact. So from here over to here, I'm doing the outside angles. And I'm going to say 70 degrees looks pretty good. And you can see now everything is fully defined, as you can see down here. And that looks like to be a good angle to 3D print, because if you make this less than 45, it won't print without using supports. So we're going to try to print this without using some support material. Now you'll notice that what we had over here is this ledge that comes out here on which the phone rests. So we're going to freehand that one in, and then we'll use like a 13.4 for the length of that. So let's come in over here, and we'll get these dimensions in here in just a little bit. But let's just kind of draw something over in this area. So we're going to start here. Maybe not the midpoint. That would lock it into position. Let's go over here, and then you can see that the yellow line is allowing us to be perpendicular to it like that. I guess we can go ahead and just do the whole thing drawn in roughly, like so. And then start, wonder if I made that, it doesn't look like it's parallel. So I guess I could select here and then down there. And I do want to make these parallel. Okay, this looks a little bit better. We did make the thickness of this right here 2 millimeters. So let's do the same thing for this one. 2 millimeters right there. Oops, forgot to hit smart dimension. So 2 millimeters here. You can see now the thickness is probably more in line with what we had there. And then 2 millimeters right here. It's still blue because we haven't really defined all of these lengths yet. We want this one to be what it says over here, which is, let's see what we got here. 3.6 millimeters. That's kind of the lip that's going to hold the phone in place. And then this distance right here, make sure we line it up, not like this, but more like that. And 13.5, I think is what it was showing us here. 13.4. 13.4. And after you do that, then you can kind of pull it out here and it will be perpendicular to that surface. Now, I think the reason why it's still blue is because we don't really know how high it is above the ground. That's most likely it. Now, sometimes when you see that it's undefined like this, or underdefined, what you can do is get out of this mode and then kind of move it around, and you'll see what the degree of freedom is. And that's it. So everything kind of kept its shape. It's just saying that I need to define how high it is. So anytime you get something blue, if you just grab it and move it, you can see what what's not been defined yet. And that's how high it is. We want that to be to that platform right there, 56.6. Let's go into Smart Dimension. and then go to right here, and then down to, let's say, the bottom right here. And we want that to be 56.6. Okay, if we want that look to be a little bit lower, we can certainly do that, but that looks okay, I suppose, for what we're doing. Now, if we try to extrude this in both directions, there's going to be a problem, and I want to see if you can predict what the problem is. So if we say it's extrude, like so, it's not going to let us extrude it. And also, if we click right here, it's saying, you don't really have an proper kind of shape here. We have to close the contour. And you say, well, it is closed all the way, but there is this one overlap that's right there. So it's saying, do you want to extrude this, or do you want to extrude that, or both of them? Now, what I want to do instead, though, is I just want to erase that. So I can come in here, my sketch tool, say trim entities, and just trim that right out. Now it's going to let me extrude that without any kind of errors. Now, looking at the width of the extrude here, looks like 78. I guess here for the base. So what I'm going to do instead is kind of divide that by 2 and kind of rough it out here. Let's just say I want to go, I don't know, like 39 this way and 39 that way. So if I come in here, say 39, and then go in direction 2, say 39 also. I made it symmetric around the origin to kind of make it easier to begin doing more cuts in a minute, because I'm going to need to cut some of this up. That alone looks like a pretty good phone stand. We could leave it like that, but let's add some more features to this. All right, so let's we got the curvature down here. Let's go ahead and we can put some curves here at the end, but let's get this triangle shape to it right here. Okay, so I guess what we'll do is we'll come over and start imagining that we're going to make this cut going all the way through. All right, so what we want to do is face maybe in this direction here. So maybe right plane would be a good sketch way to sketch this. So we'll go like this. Can we also look perpendicular in that direction? Sure. So what we want to do is kind of make a triangle shape that we want to cut here. We want to maybe a shape that we want to leave in place. Let's maybe go like this here. All right, so I guess let's go ahead and just use our freeform tool here, and we'll start like this, go over like this, and then down to here, and then back up. And that's going to be the piece that we're going to cut off in a minute using the extrude cut. Let's go ahead and do it on the other side, and I'm going to make it extremely different, just so I can show you later. Let's make it a lot shorter here to show later how you can make them look identical and symmetric. So you can see it's kind of lopsided here. But to make them the same, either you can make these 2 lines the same length, or you can grab this one and make them equal. I held the Shift key down as I selected those 2 lines, and there you go. Now, the thing is that I don't really have it defined because we don't have an angle in place. So let's try maybe the angle between this bottom plane and here and see what it looks like. I guess maybe 80 looks pretty good. I mean, we could go in with a protractor and actually measure it. It doesn't really give us what those dimensions are, so we kind of can just look and see if it's okay. Let's just try 80 and leave it like that. Now you can see it's fully defined. Maybe it looks a little bit too narrow, Let's make it 85 instead. I guess that's okay. Split the difference, right? 82.5, and for some reason, I'm going to like that better. Not sure why. All right, so we have that, but it's really just, basically the blade, defining where the cut's going to be. So now we need to cut through the entire piece now that we have them set up over here. Just go to features and say extrude cut. And we want it to go through the entire material. You see it's trying to go that direction, but there's nothing really here over here to cut. So we say flip direction like that. And now it's saying, I know what you want. You want all of that to be removed. And so it looks like it's going to go all the way up to next. You can say through all. I think that would also work as well. And it's going to look like this. And so it looks closer to what we're looking for. We do want to make this cut going up from the bottom next. So maybe we can actually make it from the front plane again, though. So let's look at this right here. We could make it from the front plane, make that shape, and then cut that out, and then we would basically be done. Now there is some curvature right here on this surface we want to handle. I guess we can go ahead and put that in place now before we do the cutting. So let's select right here. Let's put a fillet in place. How much fillet do we want for that? That's a lot of fillet right there. Let's just see how it looks when we click OK. That looks pretty good. Giving us a lot of support there. Now we want a place for our cable to go through. All right, so let's again draw on this front plane right here. So I'm going to say, well, not front plane. In this case, it's going to be the right plane. Let's sketch here. And let's just draw those triangle shapes that we saw. I'm also going to draw perpendicular to it like so. And just trying to get a good estimate of this shape that it was doing. And I'm going to make it purposely, not symmetric because I really need to fully define this. So like this and like that, and then back to here. That's going to be one cut. And I hit escape so that I can come up here and do the other cut. I think it was like this, and like this, and like this, and then back up here. And it looks like it made that perpendicular. I didn't really want that to be perpendicular. So I'm going to remove that constraint and click it like so. All right, so now let's see if there's some dimensions that we can use to make this look better, more symmetric, and more fully defined. The first thing is down here at the bottom, it says it's 30.5. And I've just noticed that I wasn't supposed to go all the way down. So let me show you how we can address that situation. And that would be to, let's see, I guess remove the constraints at the bottom. So we don't want these intersections to take place. I selected that, hit the delete key, select that, hit the delete key. So now I can actually pull this up like so. And the other thing I can do is click this and make sure that it's horizontal. So if I select that, I want to make that horizontal. Now you can see that although those are both parallel, these are not equal here. I guess what we can do in that case is just click them and do the shift key. Let's make those equal. Now it doesn't look like it knew what I was talking about, so let me try again. So shift, click, and then make these equal. Okay, but it doesn't have a wide base down there, so we'll kind of widen it up here, make this more narrow at the top. Well, let's just go ahead and do what it told us to do. And then it's to go down here to the bottom and make that be, let's see, what did it say here? 30.5. Okay. And then the other thing is it says, where this lip is, where that intersection point is. I don't know if we can actually get that in there. Right in this area here, it says make it 13.6. Now we don't really have that point right there, so we're just going to approximate it. We're just going to go up here and make that 10 just to see if it looks okay. So let's go ahead and agree to that dimension, and we can go back to our perpendicular view like this, and let's make this top part 10 and see if it looks good. And I think it was having trouble with those equals. So let's remove this right here that we had in place right there and right there. Oh, got to get out of smart dimension mode like that. Didn't like the fact that I had that 2 constrained before I set this one up at 10. That's starting to look a little bit better. What we can do next is to draw a vertical line right through the origin to use for snapping things into the vertical line. So go like this and all the way up to the top, making sure that it's vertical. Now I can't really tell if it's vertical or not here. Okay, you see the yellow thing over here to the right? It's telling me that it's vertical right here. So now what I can do is take the midpoint of this one right here, the midpoint of this line, see if I can find it right there. Click on it, then click on this line right here, shift click, and make those coincident. And then do the same thing for up here. Click, and then shift click right here and make those coincident as well. Now it's starting to look nice and symmetric. Let's do the same thing with these two lines up here. So hover over until we get the yellow. Oh, it looks like it already is on there. Now we could actually, the symbol does say that it is coincident, so that's good. All right, do we have a line up here yet? Not yet. So it looks like I forgot to close this off perhaps. Like so. And now I've drawn that. I can get out of the drawing mode, hover over, click here, shift there, make it concentric. I'm sorry, not concentric, but coincident. And looks like that shifted this one off a little bit. So now we can put it back on. Click here, click there, and coincident. At this point, what we can do is use some of our, freedom of motion to kind of just move this around until it looks good. So we don't really have to make it fully defined here. So what we can do is after we click here is we can start moving things around until we feel like it looks right. You see that kind of comes in like that. We can make it look like so. And just, stare at this picture over here. Looks like it was a little bit further down. But other than that, it looks like it's okay. So we can grab this, pull it down like so. And let's just see if that's going to be good enough for what we want to do for making our cut. So extrude cut. And to get a better view of it, we go over here. And it's cutting the wrong direction. So we go over like that. And we're cutting through the whole thing. And I like that. And so there is our phone stand. So pretty much done here. And what you can do is kind of, start to add some curves to it to make it, more friendly on the hand. So you can go right here and say, put a fillet. 10 millimeter fillet ought to work. Looks like that was the default over here anyway. And let's get in very close right there and do it right here again. And let's see where else. Maybe up here at the top. I don't think it's going to like it, me putting it right there. Oh, it actually was okay with it. Interesting. Looks like it kind of put a point to it. Let's go ahead and click OK to see what it looks like. Yeah, it kind of looks weird. What we can do to make that so that it's not so pointed up there at the top is to edit that fillet right here and make it, not so much. We can actually try just making it 5. And you can see that it left a little bit of a gap up here, so we can go a little bit more. Oh, this says 15. That's not going to do it. So let's go 7. And that looks like it did almost just about right. Maybe 6 would be better. So here, we're not really having to use engineering constraints so much as, I don't know why it has 2 of them there. Let's hit exit out of that. We have a little bit of freedom in our design. So I don't know why it had 2 down there. I just escaped out of that. I'm going to type in 6 and be good with my choices there. Let's go ahead and add some fillets right here as well. Right there. Fillet. And these are probably going to have to be smaller than 6 millimeters because of the overlap right there. So let's just make them 4 to see what it looks like. Then hit 5. That looks pretty good. Throughout the rest of the semester, though, we're going to notice, okay, I made a mistake there, so I have to right click and delete that. I got to click right in that crevice, that intersection line. Is that the right word, crevice? Like that. I usually do a few at a time instead of trying to do them all at once. And I wonder if we're done. I think we might be done. If you want to go in and add anything else, you certainly could. Just going to look at this here. Looks like we did a pretty good job. I don't think we missed anything. Didn't really have any curves down here at the bottom, so I'm going to leave mine sharp like they have it here. Let's go ahead and try one more thing, and that's to put some letters down here on the bottom. So let's see, can I right click on this and say, make it perpendicular to? And so let's put some lettering in there. Really want to turn it sideways though. Wonder how I can do that. I guess I can right click here and let's see what tool we want to use. Maybe this tool up here, or let's see, right click and say zoom and pan tools. Let's use rotate view. Okay, that actually rotated the whole thing. I didn't really want to do that. I think it's roll view instead is really what I wanted it to do, like that. All right, now if I right click here, can I say perpendicular to? Let's go ahead and get out of that mode there. Right click, perpendicular. It rotated it back around, but I'm just going to use the correct tool this time. Roll view. I'm going to draw a line on which I can write some words. So let's do a sketch. We're sketching on that plane, and it's going to be a dotted line. Just going to put it right here. You know what? I'm kind of thinking that I need to do it the other way so that you can see the words in the opposite direction. So I'm going to put my baseline for the words right this direction here. Kind of lock that into being perpendicular. You can see that it does say that it's going to be a vertical line. It's drawn there. I'm going to go back to rolling my view around. So right click, pan, and roll view. I'm going to rotate it all the way around so that I can put my words right here. Okay, so let's start to put some text on here. So like this, it says, where do you want to put the text? It's going to put it along there. It's going to say SFA, and it did it the opposite direction than I wanted, SFA. I wonder if there's some directions I can use here. Maybe this over here, the direction. There we go. So I had to click those things until I got it right. I want it to be centered. I want it to be bigger as well. So instead of using the system fonts, I'm going to uncheck that and say, let's make this really big. So I guess we can say make that like 10 millimeters tall. Also like the fact that we could make it bold, perhaps. Although maybe I have to come in here and make it bold. Yeah, there it is. We can select some different fonts like so. That would be look like a child made that one. So maybe not that one. And that looks kind of weird. Let's go back to Arial like it was. Look at all those fonts we have to choose from. And I guess we can say Arial like that, maybe a little bit rounded. Still looks like there's a space in there though, doesn't it? Oh, okay, it made it a little bit better there. Okay, so I guess we can go bigger still if we wanted to. The only thing that I think we're going to see here, I'll make it like 15, is that when we cut this, there's going to be this little piece right here that I think is going to be, you know, floating. You'll see what I'm talking about as I begin to cut this. Extrude cut. And it's going to take a cut all the way through there. And what you'll see here is if I try to 3D print this, yes, and it's going to print out this little triangle and just leave it behind. And so what we could do is just draw a line right there to hold that triangle in place. I'm kind of wondering if there's a font called stencil, because that's really what a stencil is all about, right? So let's edit this sketch just to see if this is something that we can change. I just thought about this right now. It's not something that I was really looking to do. So what I'm trying to do is double click on that. Okay, let me try again. There it is, double click. And let's just see if there's something like that. Oh my gosh, it's right there. How about that? And so you can see that it's leaving these little lines in there. We don't maybe need to have it bold like so. So now what'll happen is that it won't leave these little gaps there. I mean, it's not the best looking font, but at least it wouldn't leave any pieces behind. So if we agree to those things like that, we're going to see SFA down there on the bottom. And there'll be no extra, pieces that are just laying around. So not so bad. All right, so in order to 3D print this, we want to save this. So File, Save As. And this is my second phone stand, so I'm going to call this Fruiton, last name, phone stand 2. And this would be the file that I would upload as a SolidWorks file. But then in order to 3D print, I need to save this as an STL file. All right, so now what I'm doing is load up my software that I use to print things, and that would be Bamboo Studio. And you can see I have a different phone design right there, but it would require a lot of supports here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you say slice the plate, it's going to have to put a lot of this material in here in order to hold that up. And so it's kind of a little bit of a waste of materials here. So I'm just going to say, let's go back over here and make a new plate, or maybe just a new part altogether, new project. And we will discard all of those extra additional settings. We don't need that many different colors. We're just going to use one color. So let's put that phone stand in place that I just made here. I don't think that's it, actually. Where did I put this at? I think I put it under 3D Designs, maybe in Archives. Okay. I think what I can do is actually add this right here if I'm adding a STL file instead of a 3MF file. So let's see, where was I here? Going over here to my space here, and then 3D Designs. I put it in Archive for some reason. And there is my second version there. So I could try to print it like that, but you can see that it's kind of in the air like so, which still might be okay as long as I would lay it flat. So let's see if we lay it flat. It's going to look like that. That might be okay. I wonder also if I can just, select that face right there and lay it flat that way. So let's see if I can lay it flat on that surface. Oh, that's freeform. Oh, here we go. It's saying select a surface. So I'm going to select that surface and then see what it looks like. Is it laying down flat? Yes. I think though that this edge might be a little bit weird on that. So I'm just going to hit Control-D. May not print very well that direction. Okay, so let's just keep it just like we had right here. And hopefully it can just print in midair. Well, not in midair, but print here. And then I think it'll come together nicely here and then split up. Let's see if it's going to be able to handle that by slicing it. And you see that it doesn't require any kind of supports. It doesn't give us an error. So it will be able to start at the bottom of this and raster its way all the way back up. And then we would have our part at the end. All right, so let's make sure that we don't have anything on the print bed right now. And if we don't, we'll go ahead and print this one. Oh, there's still a piece right there, so I better go remove that and then begin the print. Yeah, so let me pause the video. And there's the stand being printed. It's a little bit blurry because the thing is moving around a little bit overexposed in that area. But when we get done, it's going to look like the part that we had developed. I kind of played around and put some holes down in here in the bottom just for fun as well. All right, let me know if I can help further.